Not guilty. A San Francisco jury has just cleared an illegal immigrant on murder charges in a case that became a major issue in the presidential election.
President Trump and many other conservatives across the country outraged tonight, claiming that the nation needs tougher immigration laws. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan kicks us off and joins us now with that look at the verdict and how that could impact the issue of sanctuary cities, Dave.
Yeah, this was like a fireball issue in the 2016 election campaign, and it may be just as powerful now on the verdict. In the fact that the only guilty verdict in this high-intensity trial was on a charge of a felon possessing a firearm. This case received high-profile attention during last year's presidential campaign because of the horrible killing of a woman who was walking along the San Francisco waterfront, and the fact that an illegal immigrant was charged with her murder. Now, like this from then-candidate Trump last year.
We're talking about illegal immigration. We're talking about crime. You saw what happened the other day with the young lady in San Francisco. It's a disgrace.
The killing of 32-year-old Kate Steinle, who was shot in the back while walking with her father in San Francisco 2 years ago, was one of the centerpieces of Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The rallying cry for building a wall and taking a tough stance on illegal immigration and sanctuary cities.
Another victim is Kate Steinle, gunned down in the sanctuary city of San Francisco by an illegal immigrant deported 5 previous times, and they knew he was no good.
But tonight, a jury has found illegal immigrant Jose Inez Garcia Zarate, a citizen of Mexico, not guilty of gunning down Steinle on a San Francisco pier in 2015. This case gained national attention after it was revealed that Garcia Zarate had been deported 5 times and was slated to be deported again. But shortly before Steinle died, the San Francisco Sheriff's Department released Garcia Zarate from jail despite a federal immigration request to detain. Garcia Zarate never denied shooting Steinle. Instead, he claimed it was an accident, saying he found the gun, touched it, it went off, and the shot ricocheted off a pier into Steinle. San Francisco insider Phil Matier covered the trial and says that was one reason Garcia Zarate was found not guilty of murder.
A lot of this came down to whether or not the shot was intentional. And the defense made the case that the fact that it was shot and then hit the pier and then ricocheted in another direction showed that he was not aiming the gun or willfully trying to shoot at anyone. They maintained that it was an accident.
Defense attorneys say there was much more on trial here than just an illegal immigrant.
There was a tremendous amount of misinformation that was spread about this case from day one. You had then candidate Trump espousing that, this was an intentional shooting.
From day one, this case was used as a means to foment hate, to foment division, and to foment a program of mass deportation. It was used to catapult a presidency along that philosophy of hate of others.
Not surprisingly, President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions had very different reactions to the not guilty verdict. The president tweeting Thursday night, "A disgraceful verdict in the Kate Steinle case. No wonder the people of our country are so angry with illegal immigration." And Attorney General Sessions released a statement saying San Francisco's decision to protect criminal aliens led to the preventable and heartbreaking death of Kate Steinle. "I urge the leaders of the nation's communities to reflect on the outcome of this case and consider carefully the harm they are doing to their citizens by refusing to cooperate with federal law enforcement officers." And the political fallout from this case could be showing up in California next year.
In the state, let's remember, there's a move afoot to rescind California's legislators' decision to declare California a sanctuary state. Voters are going to be possibly given the choice next November whether they want California to be a sanctuary state, and you can depend that this case is going to be playing into that campaign.
Well, there's still some confusion tonight about what happens next to the defendant, Jose Inez Garcia Zarate. He could be sentenced to a prison term of a couple of years on the gun possession charge. And the acting director of Immigration and Customs says immigration officers will now take custody of Garcia Zarate for deportation once his case concludes. Jeff, Lena, back to you.